Guys, we are at Dark Door Spirits here in Tampa, Florida. These guys are killer. We are out here for the first time, even though I guess I'm like 10, 10 yeah, like literally 4 minutes away from these guys. But coming out here, I mean, driving down, they're awesome. The stuff that they've got is great, super unique, and like we say, some of these distilleries are absolutely slept on the national level, and I think these guys are one of them. The stuff that they're doing is excellent. The experimental stuff they're doing is great. And we're really excited to dig down into what makes you all unique and hear you all stories. Cool. So with that, let's go ahead and play our intro and get going. All right, guys. So as always, let's move on to the not cheesy part of this interview. So, guys, I mean, y'all are out of this awesome warehouse here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
right.
It is super cool.
This is our baby.
But
we just moved in.
Literally, yeah. We were actually in a warehouse down the street, but and we were fortunate where we're only like a mile away. When Maddie, my operating partner, so I'm Brandon. I'm one of the partners here at the distillery. So Matt Allen, our operating partner, we're really fortunate that his wife actually he and his wife owned a furniture business for events just down the street. So when we first got together and we were just trying to find a spot to set up, we literally we took a little corner of his warehouse because my wife got sick of me using the garage for all intents and purposes. So that was kind of the start, right?
Yeah.
So we're really fortunate where we just moved into the space, so we actually have a place to set up the big boy. So 36 plates right behind us. And actually it's a combination, so it gets to run. So we can run it as an Amblick pocket still. We can run it as a 36 chamber. Basically each one of those gets another 6 out of it, so we can get some really clean neutral spirits. And then we can do a combo too, where we actually run a stripping run and then go into a clean run after that for some neutral spirits too. So we can do a lot of different stuff with the equipment we got here.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so what really, what got you guys started? Why whiskey? So you said you were out of your garage, right?
Yeah. And it's funny. So
Completely legally, by the way.
Yeah. Personal use only. Thank you. Anyway, so third generation, my granddad, and actually even my great granddad made wine. So I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island. My family's Portuguese and Italian. They made all kinds of weird stuff. Dandelion wine, Portuguese style wine. They had a still in the basement. So they would grow sugarcane, make basically a mash with the sugarcane, and then run it. So like you and I would consider that to be cachaça, or a type of rum, sugar, spirit. And that's how, they were always doing that kind of stuff. So as a kid, you'd see them doing it, you'd understand it a little bit, or you'd see they got the barrel setting out in the backyard. Literally, they were doing open ferment, in the back of their 3-decker, in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And so my dad was never really that good at it. And at that point, my dad bought a farm. We were kind of living in some space, and he was growing a lot of his own stuff, his own ingredients in things. He wasn't very good at it though. And he admits that, rest in peace. Absolutely. He admitted it. He was like, yeah, it kind of skips a generation. So as I started to get into like beer and did you break the chair? We just bought that
I
shit.
might have. Trying to lose some wedding weight, man. Calm down.
That COVID weight, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's what it is.
It has nothing to do with massive amounts of drinking.
So then, I started getting into beer, making beer and that kind of thing. And ultimately did start distilling some of the old recipes that we had floating around. Fast forward, moved to Florida, kids. I started getting back into making beer. Maddie and I, we were both in the hospitality business. Matt's other business, my operating partner with MMD, rents event furniture. I was working as a director of catering in a hotel. we met through mutual friends, through events, and found, mutual appreciation for beer and spirits and that kind of thing. We started hanging out a bit more. Fast forward another little bit, my wife, for my birthday one year, actually got me a little pot still, like a little air still, to kind of kick the hobby back up. Because at that point, our kids were starting to get a little older.
See why you married her.
Yeah.
No doubt.
She didn't want me in the house all the time. That was the problem. It's like, go out in the garage. I'll give you something to do out there.
So we have been drinking.
Yeah, a little bit.
True story. So anyway, so Matt's, again, we kind of get back into this whole, Matt's starting to get into it and asking questions about what I was doing and trying some of the stuff. And it happened to be at an event. We were actually at an MPI event together, and he and I were kind of in the back room. We're waiting to I was going to help him turn a room. And for those in the hospitality industry, that means like you move the furniture basically. So we're standing there waiting to move furniture. We're bullshitting. We're drinking a glass of wine or beer, whatever it was. And Maddie's like, we should do something together. And it was one of those funny things where we had talked about, some various
ideas.
Yeah, we had talked about a million ideas. We talked about a brewery. At one point, we were talking about making LED lights because Matt's an engineer by trade. And, it came down to, it's like, well, we could do a brewery. But at the time, Tampa really had some great breweries. And it's like, there wasn't a distillery in Tampa at the time that either one of us could name.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things. It's like, we should try our hand at doing this, man. And he's like, you can, you know how to do it. And I was like, yeah, I've been doing this for years. So at that point, we just started talking about it. And we ended up where, we produced a couple of sample spirits of things, and we kind of came up our original branding. So currently we're Dark Door, but you'll see on all of our stuff, if you can see the Cerberus on there. And actually,
It's on my back.
Yeah. So our so I also, I like to drink what most people would consider to be some weird stuff, Like I'm that guy that if the rattlesnake head is in the bottle, I want the bottle, and I want to drink it all. So making stuff for myself, I was always making spirits that were super hot. Like I don't necessarily want to drink things that are less than 120.
I'm with you on that one.
Right. It's my preference. I want it barrel strength. And Matt's the same way.
I
Like
guess,
he'll
if
do
you're
it.
a lady.
Yeah, I know. 60 proof boy over here. 2 beers.
I'm like drinking Amaros.
We actually all have we have little umbrellas for all of Shane's drinks, no matter what he has. So we just put it in there.
I love it.
So we kind of everything that we're making though is super hot and it's funky. So like I had an absinthe, I had a couple of really good moonshines that I'd worked out recipes for. We still hadn't. I hadn't worked on a whiskey mash, since really like with my dad.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was still kind of building the skill set a little bit. I'd done a couple. But we felt like we had something fun and solid and like, hey, let's pitch this to some people. So based on how hot all of our stuff was and how funky it was, we came up with this concept that it needs to sort of live behind the gates of hell. Everything that we got was going to be just so wild and so crazy that's what we needed to do. So Cerberus obviously guards that door. So then for us, we had to make Cerberus, our mascot. And so we started out as Cerberus Craft, and we started pitching people on our moonshine. I was making an absinthe.
Just kill it.
Hit it up. And actually what we're pouring right now is one of those original products. So Spirit of IPA was part of that kind of original pack of stuff that, we thought was funky. At that point, there hadn't been a lot of people distilling beer. So I'd had it when I was in Europe, beer schnapps, where basically they'll take beer that's gone bad and then distill it and make an aperitif kind of drink out of it. So I just started dumping different kinds of beers into my still at home to see what I would come up with. Most of it, it's hard to clean up. That's the best way to describe it, especially when it's got the hops in it, because it pulls through a lot of that citrus flavor. So, Greg, what do you think of that? So
I have to say, when it came to IPAs, I was not a fan of IPAs or stouts when I first started drinking beer, but I don't think anyone really is when they first start drinking
It's
beer.
a hard transition, right?
And one of my friends, Joe and I, who is another one of my friends that's super into whiskey, he and I used to go to World of Beer all the time, and we just decided we're going to sit here and we're going to drink IPAs until we like it.
Yeah.
Strong
And
statement.
yeah,
Yeah.
it took us about 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
we ended up liking IPAs, and now
That's one of those. It's an acquired taste, but I think everyone kind of finds a route to an IPA. And I had the luxury of working for Brass Tap in the early days and of craft beer, and I've had a really great relationship with a lot of breweries and stuff like that. And that's kind of what drew me to these guys was the spirit of IPA being a really fun blend of the two industries, where I had the luxury of seeing all these brands team up. And that's a really cool thing. I love collaborating. I love, we collaborate, with all sorts of local people, and to find another brewery or a brewery and go, hey, let's work together. So that's actually from Crooked Thumb. We take their Shade Tree IPA, we run that through the still. It's not aging in an IPA barrel. We're using an IPA.
Actual beer.
And it takes 105 gallons of IPA to make 5 gallons of whiskey. So it is a process.
It's expensive too.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and that opened up a lot of doors for us too. And that part of that collaborating spirit is, being able to do that, but then have other breweries see that and going out to other breweries and saying, hey, let's team up on this too. Now we're working on some stuff that I'm not going to drop too many.
It's super
right now,
good.
but we have some really fun stuff that's about to come out, including a gin made from a sour.
really,
That's going to be really fun.
I didn't try that one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
have not
we
made
have
it yet.
samples
It's
that- yeah,
that's
it's
still
in process.
that's in the process right
That's
now.
why I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
Well, so the spirit of IPA, right, is a function of, it was me dumping a bunch of beers in and trying to figure out what happens is when you distill beer, it comes out where it's got a sharp flavor to it. It's actually really sharp up front. So then it was like, well, what do I do to try to get this to make it more palatable? So where we landed, and we tried blending it a whole bunch of different ways. Current is Shade Tree IPA from Crooked Thumb. So it's a West Coast style IPA. So it's Citra forward. It's a little bit grapefruit forward.
Yeah.
So like when you drink this, you get.
Ricky, is that a fucking Corona? Oh, I dropped the F-bomb.
That's it.
Oh,
I figured
love
with
it. I
the
love that.
political climate, it was the best drink to have.
All right, I'll give you each one.
wait, everyone gets one?
No, just
Oh, I'm saving mine up.
I was gonna
So
later.
I'm
It's gonna be better.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
I mean, dude, we're on a whiskey podcast and he drank a Corona. That deserved it.
Agreed.
We're gonna have to get a dump button or something.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna drop some Bacardi Limon in your Corona now?
Put some seltzer you can mix it with. 50-50. But the cool thing about Spirit of IPA is then we blend it with a 3-year aged Florida corn whiskey. So you get so it adds a little bit of sweetness. It takes out the sharp, and you just get this really smooth whiskey in style that's got a citrus, almost hop up front, and then really kind of like a caramel, brown sugar sort of back end to it. So it's a really unique product. And it's just, again, it's one of those things that when we go out and we pitch people on our product, because we got to set ourselves apart, right? So Spirit of IPA is like nothing else, really in the market. Charbay,
It's really good.
Makes a distilled whiskey out of beer. There's some other folks that are doing it, but we're the only ones that are really blending it and then, outwardly marketing it and trying to push it.
So I would like to point out here that usually we'll taste a couple of these on the live stream, and we're definitely going to be getting some reviews up on the website. But I got to say, guys, like, this is super good. I mean, I wouldn't think that, obviously you get like orange and stuff when you do
You're going to
old
get all those really
fashions, but
fun citrus flavors. So this I've always considered is a Florida whiskey. So
yeah,
when you think about it, Florida's like one state where like we really in the South in general, you don't have those flavors in the whiskeys that impart in the same way that like something in Kentucky, Ohio, those areas where you have a very strong idea of where something's coming from.
yeah.
And in Florida, we're just trying to mimic those because we were late to the game with whiskey. So instead of mimicking it, it's kind of like this fun way of adding these really awesome citrus notes because in reality, I mean,
That's what hops comes through, right?
it's 95% or it's 95 degrees all the time here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can get a little rough in the summertime. You want to stick to a whiskey, but you maybe aren't trying to drop 120 proof on a hot summer day outside doing the lawn. Whereas you can throw this in some grapefruit juice and crush it.
Yeah, it's delicious.
You know?
Yeah, I would say that's one of the positives of that is that citrus flavor does mash up so well with some other things you wouldn't necessarily always put with whiskey.
Yeah.
And we're real fortunate, that we got Shane as our brand ambassador.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
I must say.
I'm all right.
He can also drink, which I appreciate.
But spending some time coming up with with some funky flavors that can kind of match up with the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
And whiskey and grapefruit isn't necessarily a pairing that I would normally do, but absolutely, like I could see it fitting with this.
Yeah, and I mean that's how I came on board was seeing these kind of fun ideas. I mean, we'll talk. I mean, I know this is a whiskey podcast, but the second product that they really came out with was our Spirit Prohibition Gin, and this is. I mean, if you look at the color of the gin, it's not a clear gin. It's something definitely a little different. And this is kind of like, as me coming from being a, bar manager, somebody who wrote drink menus, consulted with bar programs, to find something like this, something unique in Tampa, that I can use in cocktails that's going to be
That's also great by itself.
It's great by itself, but it plays so well with so many cool cocktails, and to have a local spirit that does that, I love gin, I love whiskey. It's hard to find a gin that's really kind of out of this world, a little different, because gin does have a very set in stone kind of flavor. This is a really cool one because it's modernizing the gin category. And that's what I really loved about it. So we macerate this for 2 weeks. Macerate.
I heard it wrong the first time.
So we macerate it for 2 weeks after we distill lavender and rose hips. The rose hips came from him.
Well, yeah. So this recipe is kind of funky. I was in 25 years ago. I was in New York at a bookstore and trying to find actually cocktail recipes and mash bills. And so I'm digging through stuff, and I came on a recipe for gin from the 20s that called for lavender and rose hips. Yeah. And, I was trying – Shane's got a call apparently. But came upon a gin that was finished in lavender and rose hips. And, a lot of the Prohibition style stuff, the herbs that they used in it were really just trying to cover up crappy made booze, right? Bathtub gin, if you would. But I grew up with rose hips in New England. Like I grew up in Providence again, and we just had my family made like rose hip jam and stuff. So we always had it in the cupboard, and it's something that down the beaches it grows wild. It's really a citrus flavor. So I hadn't seen anything like it, and then I kept messing with it. So at one point, I started with just juniper and lavender and rose hips just to see what would happen. And then just kind of continued forward, trying to figure out what made sense. And, it took me probably like 5 or 6 years of just messing with it to realize that you had to do a botanical gin, and then you had to finish it in just the lavender and rose hips. Otherwise, the juniper overpowers the lavender, and it makes it taste soapy. And it was funny because that was like one of those ahas, like going through the tasting portion of it to try to figure out, like, what am I doing wrong that I can't make this good? And
well, you did it.
So
this is fantastic now.
Let's get into tasting some of these other whiskeys and
absolutely.
stuff.
So I'll go through
Ricky, did you have any questions for these guys?
Honestly, I was just gonna say, like, I'm really curious how you guys ended up doing like not only just whiskey, but like having vodka products and like just dabbling, what made you want to be diverse?
So, I mean, I think it all comes down to just wanting, it's not necessarily wanting to please everybody, but everyone has different tastes, including us.
Yeah.
We're not strictly whiskey drinkers. When we joked about an Amaro, you want to do the rye first?
Let's do the rye first.
My favorite.
So we we're not just whiskey drinkers. We love whiskey, but we want to have something that's a little out there. And there are a little more rules when it comes to distilling a whiskey, where you're shoehorned into a certain area you can't deviate from if you want to call it certain things. So we want to be able to still flex some of that creativity through other means. And if that means, maybe our Spirit of IPA is technically not a whiskey because it has hops in it.
Right.
So we made it a distilled specialty spirit. And we're cool with that. We're playing around with 2 Amaro recipes right now. We want to do some wild stuff, and it's all about innovating, keeping
experimentation.
Going.
It's that whole we have to as an independent, right? We just have to always do something different because I can't compete with Jack Daniels. Straight up, I can't. I would love to, get a $100 million loan and just blow the market out and be able to do that. But as guys that
I would also like to get a $100 million loan.
yeah,
Where do I co-sign?
yeah,
A small loan of $100 million.
your brand today, actually, right here on Whiskey
Dark door
Mm.
culture.
Yeah.
I love it.
That actually don't do that. That sounds bad.
It's not good.
That sounds like something you order off the dark web.
Yeah.
But I'm pumped.
So
Shane's on 4chan looking right now. But that's us, right? We got to try to always continue to try to do something different. And then honestly, like from a business ownership perspective, a lot of these products we can use in multiple places, right? So
Yeah.
it just makes sense that we can expand our product line based on the things that we're already doing to be able to continue to expand our offerings and just have that broader spectrum of spirits or of products.
That's awesome.
well, spirits are supposed to be fun, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Drinking's
fun.
fun. And we want to be fun. We want to do dumb stuff. I mean, we want to have a good time with it. That's the thing. It's a lot of people that idea just kind of falls short with people, or they lose focus and they say, well, we're going to have to do this now. We have to do it this way. We have to do it that way. Screw it. Let's get wild. Like that's
Do
our
you
whole
want me to
mentality.
rattle off the gin ideas I sent you at like
No,
11:30 on
let's-
Saturday night?
You were hammered. It was worse than shaving your back.
No, but that's cool, though, guys. Like, you're diversified. Not only it's good from a business perspective, but also just being able to like go to these different local areas and show everything you have to offer. And you're not a one-trick pony. And like that's something that people love. Like I have a wine that I'm drinking right now, and it's a red. And you're like, oh, it's just wine. But like, no, this was aged in an Irish barrel whiskey for like 5 years, and it tastes freaking awesome. Like that's cool. Like when people get to like go in the lab and try different stuff, and you get like this cool concoction that nobody's ever thought of.
Did we have a Corona earlier?
Yeah,
switch it up.
he's
I
just
like
switching
A
it up.
Corona, and then you
The
went to
Corona's
a wine.
in the wine.
Dude, I told you, I'm
It's
boozing
a barrel-
out tonight. We're all
It's a
hanging.
wine barrel-aged Corona.
Yes.
I like it. I think we kind of took our business model kind of the same way breweries look at it.
We always
Breweries are
talked about
always doing like crazy stuff. How many breweries now are
Oh my god.
like you never know what you're going to get when you get there, and that's kind of our idea. Is now that we finally have a space where we can sell bottles here, because our old space you couldn't.
Mhm.
Now that we have that, we don't necessarily have to throw them into a chain of distribution. I don't have to try and get them in every Chili's or anything like that. I can just sell a handful of bottles here. We can do small batches. We're in front of our big still, but we run everything on 26-gallon stills.
They're actually set up right behind that. So there's a whole bank of 26-gallon stills that we use for lots of different stuff.
And that
Dude,
just gives
should
us.
we take them back there? I think we can make this work.
If you want to try it, dude, I'm in.
All right, guys, we're doing a. Is the Wi-Fi back there all
This
right?
is the first time we're gonna do a moving stream.
Should I talk about
Moving
the
stream.
should I
I'm gonna
talk
get
about
motion
while we're
sickness.
going?
Yeah. Let's talk about
So we our Ryan our bourbon
Hold it steady, Greg.
our Ryan our bourbon we finally put out in January and released, and then we signed with a bigger distribution company, but obviously COVID happened, so we haven't really been able to push it as much. But we're really happy, and luckily the awards season is still going. People are still allowing for awards. We've won some double golds with this. We're really proud of what we've done with it. I mean, this is a Pennsylvania style rye.
Pennsylvania style triple rye. So again, going back to our prohibition stuff, like you'll see, that's kind of a theme with our distillery. So again, not too far off of what you consider to be a George Washington rye, but a Pennsylvania triple rye. So 3 different styles of rye that go into this glass. And then these are our small stills. So again, we run some pot stills, some Amblick stills over on that side, and then there's a couple of small column stills that we use for stripping runs. So between that and the big boy, this is what we run off of.
That's a cool setup.
This stuff's pretty cool. They got all kinds of nifty stuff. They've got this nifty little. Let's see if you guys can see that. You see, they got all the barrels aging here in the warehouse here in Tampa, rather than shipping it off to age somewhere else. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
They've got some really cool technology and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let me see if I can. Where is it? Hold on. Let's get the T-Rex. Hold on. I'm running. There we go. There we go.
That's our T-Rex. That's our unofficial not mascot because we're Cerberus. Yeah, but he somehow showed up one day.
So we still bottle by hand?
Yeah, we
bottle by hand. Yeah. Hold on, let's check that out. So yeah, these guys are still literally. I mean, I've seen so many distilleries where there's just big old lines, and now they're still bottling by hand. That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, we built our own hand sanitizer bottling line too. Hand built it. It's yeah. I mean, we're still a small craft distillery, and we've been very fortunate to be in the places that we're at and have the reach that we've had. And I think it all comes down to the fact that we actually have been making good spirits.
Let's throw it in here real quick. Let's show them the.
So this is our little tasting room that we're going to show you guys.
This is the first time we've ever been on the move while live streaming. Here,
you just have steady hands and a laptop.
Yeah, dude, I'm just walking through holding a MacBook like a total asshole.
So this is our
nerd.
This is our bottling space, or this is our tasting room. You can come in and do some small tours. I mean, we're going to start doing some tours and some really fun stuff with our tours soon. If anyone wants to go check out our website, just darkdoorspirits.com. You can actually sign up for tours in the future, and we have all the dates on the calendar. We're trying to be as socially conscious as we can with them, making sure we don't have too many people in here. We also want to make sure that they're a lot of fun for people to come in.
And the experience is important to us, right?
We want a more hands-on experience with people. So
it's a super, super, super nice entry room. I walked in, I was like, uh-oh. They're fancy. They're fancy.
And then you met us, and you're like, oh, these guys.
Yeah. And starts talking about Alabama, his sister wife.
See an Alabama sticker on a car out there. Yeah.
Uh-oh. I hear the banjos. All right.
For Halloween, are one of you guys going to be a drunk Cerberus?
We've tried this so many times.
I'm generally a drunk anything all the time. That's kind of how we do this.
Well, that was a fun little tour. I've never done anything like that.
I just broke a sweat.
So what did you think of the ride, man?
Dude, the rye is so good. So one of the things that's super interesting here is that the Shane, get the fuck in here.
Oh, my bad. Didn't realize I was.
No. So this rye is absolutely phenomenal. It is super, super good. But it's like what I like with the rye. So it's not like spicy for the sake of being spicy. It's got a lot of earthy depth to it.
And that's exactly what we want.
Super drinkable.
And that's that Pennsylvania rye too. Using that triple rye.
Yeah, the three blend really does it. Like
keeping it still spicy, and we age it with a high spiced oak as well.
Yeah.
But we wanted to really round out the flavors. I love a super spicy rye, but not everyone's me. You should be, but you're not. And it's, to me, we made something that's very well balanced, something that really plays to the masses very well. It's still got some spice, but the spices are not.
And you can put it up against
overwhelming.
I've tasted this, against Whistle Pig 6 Year. I've tasted it against some other very, very good ryes, and it still stands out. And to Shane's point, it's not too much baking spice forward, so it still pairs well. And it's funny because I drink this on the rocks pretty regularly. It's besides the Spirit of Prohibition, it's probably my favorite of our products, just because it's so drinkable and it works well in cocktails.
Orion, you have a question for these guys?
More of a comment, really. I just like how you guys are expanding in such a unique way. Where you going to go and experiment? I think the closest thing we've seen to that was we went to Chattanooga and they had a little experimental distillery. Yeah, that was I got a really cool vibe from those guys. I'm getting the same from you guys too. I think it's going to be a really cool venture you guys are going to go on.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate that.
We're real fortunate where along the line we've got to meet some other really cool distilleries and breweries. Actually, up there in Tennessee, Postmodern Spirits. If you've not heard of them, it's a pretty cool little distillery. They're a little more gin focused, but they do some really interesting stuff. The Sons of Liberty up in my home state of Rhode Island. Again, they do a beer distilled as well. They do go a little bit different direction, but they do some really cool single malts. So we spent a lot of time talking to them too about the way that they present their spirits. So all of us independents kind of have to stick together a little bit, and kind of learn from each other. We were actually just talking to Dry County Spirits up in Kennesaw, Georgia, because they're doing canned cocktails, and they're doing them in the way that we want to do them, which is real juice, real sugar, real spirits, all made in-house.
You ready for the bourbon? Oh, yeah, man.
I mean,
that wasn't even a question, right?
I mean, I guess.
I see an Uber in your future, bro.
No.
I'd be interested to hear from you guys, too. Hold on, let me finish this one.
No.
Anybody drink canned cocktails?
I've had
I tried some.
Yeah.
the
I'm pretty
Buffalo
much a
Trace
straight up
one.
guy. I suck at making cocktails.
Well, so we're talking about canned cocktails, and we're kicking that idea around. We're always looking to be kind of we're looking at the markets and trying to we're pretty much trying to find areas where the market might in the future go, and we're looking at even agave spirits. You look now.
Oh, I got to try
tequila
that.
pricing.
Well, that's so good.
Tequila,
Try that.
Tequila pricing is going through the roof right now because an agave plant, blue agave plant, takes 8 to 12 years to mature fully. And in those 8 to 10 years, they're producing so much tequila because of, honestly,
Demand.
the U.S.
Yeah.
The U.S. demand for tequila has gone up, 400% in just a little amount of time. And now they're running out of agave plants that are mature enough to turn into tequila. So the agave prices are going to start rising for these tequilas. On top of that, you have cartels stopping shipments to come into the States.
Yeah, for real though, do not sleep on their agave when it comes out. I tried it straight.
It'll be a little while. This is our first couple runs of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna still play around with it for a little while. That's one thing where I would rather have a million misses not go out. Like even if it's just a hair close, we don't want to push it.
Yeah.
I tried it at 140 something proof, and it was bomb.
Dude, let me be your guinea pig. I'll come down. I love agave and grapes. Seriously, that stuff is killer.
Well, and then we're going to try to age. So Greg alluded to it earlier when we were looking at the T-Rex. So the tech, one of the challenges we faced, like as a startup distillery, is how do you move the process, right? Because 5 years in a barrel is a long time between making it, putting it in a barrel, and waiting for it to mature. And we didn't want to be those guys that went out and just bought a ton of super aged booze. Frankly, we couldn't afford to. You know what I mean? We're startup. Literally bootstrapping.
And it's also, again, going back to wanting to do something different. I have no problem with blended whiskeys. Trust
me either.
As somebody,
High West is one of my all-time favorites.
We didn't want to be the second distillery in the Tampa Bay area making blended whiskeys.
Yeah.
And I think that the other distilleries are doing a great job with those.
Yeah.
But that's not really our wheelhouse. You know,
So
I have an infinity bottle in my house, and I've been blending, and I'm telling you right now, it's god awful trash. But it's also like 90% early times, which is probably pretty rough.
Early time.
make
But
some age in there too.
again, I'm from Alabama, and I am straight white trash.
Mad Dog 2020.
There you go.
For the independent bottle, good.
Topping it with just like malt wine.
Oh,
My infinity bottle.
Dave, you have any questions for these guys?
Well, no, getting back to the bottled cocktail thing, I think that's probably a good idea. I'm terrible at making drinks, so I pretty much have given up. I mean, I pretty much drink everything neater on the rocks, but
You want me to just come teach you?
there are companies. Well, I mean, we all know Sazerac does it, and what's that one that you and I bought from Whiskey Willie's, Greg's?
Watershed.
Yeah,
Watershed,
that one's
good.
pretty good.
It's pretty
The
done good.
Sazerac-
I got it as a present for a friend, and we ended up like
Just downing them.
just crushing through that bottle. It was not good.
We tried it at Wally's, and I still got a little bit left, but like I bought the Sazerac ones, but 9 times out of 10, like especially the old fashioned, I have to pour an extra shot in there first.
yeah.
Because it's too
You're
sweet.
you're not the first person that's mentioned that actually.
And that's something again. Yeah, it's like we got to find ways to do it, and we want to
just
make
wanna
sure
do
it's
it good.
good. And
Yeah,
that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Well,
If you do it like you're doing everything else, you're going to be.
Yeah,
When it's our time, we'll do it right, just like we do the other stuff.
Well, I would like also real quick, guys, because a big part of this is getting down onto the whiskey, and they've got their Spirit of Oak. So the first thing that we drank was the Spirit of IPA.
Yeah.
Super good, super citrus forward, very very unique. I've never had anything like it, and I've had hundreds of different drams of whiskey, and I can't ascribe it to anything that I've tasted before,
Thanks,
before,
man. I
which
appreciate
is
that. Yeah, that's awesome.
super unique.
Yeah.
Then we had their rye. Their rye is really good if you're a fan of earthy ryes. I know a lot of people are fans of those spicy ryes, the ones that just kind of kick you right in the knee.
Punch in the face. And actually, I like those too, so I get it. Yeah.
But this one is one of those ones that's really balanced. It's it's easy to drink. It's smooth. It's earthy, but it's a rye. But the nose is straightforward rye. Like it's super uncomplicated. And then the Spirit of Oak, their bourbon, really, really good. It is, it's just good. It's not overly in any direction. And I'm really a fan of bourbons that go in a certain direction and run with it. This is one of the very rare bourbons that I've tried that I find balanced in a very enjoyable way.
Thanks.
And that was kind of our idea with the bourbon. We started with the rye. We typically in a tasting you'd want to go bourbon first, but our rye is something that we definitely went in a different direction because it is a Pennsylvania style that's not, and the Pennsylvania styles are starting to come back, but they're kind of a lost art. Our bourbon,
Pennsylvania style. I'm sorry, you've mentioned that a couple of times.
Pennsylvania style is a triple rye. So it's pre-Prohibition era. If you were to Google it, you'd see some of the old school mash bills where you're literally using 3 different types of rye in a mash bill, and it's usually more than 65%. So that's what that recipe is based on.
and so in Pennsylvania, I mean, these guys hired me. A, for my good looks, and B, and my extensive knowledge of the history of cocktail culture.
Shane's like, they hire me A for my good looks, B for, and C for my extensive knowledge of whiskey.
It's a lot of
good looks. It was definitely
there was like at least 1 and 2.
I definitely got hired because I'm hot. So you look back.
It was so weird. That's what we had in the Craigslist ad.
That's
so weird.
See, I need as much back door as you guys have had.
I went in my interview.
Male looking for male must be attractive.
And have extensive whiskey knowledge.
I was like, that sounds good. So we.
Mayday.
Man. So pre-Prohibition, there were no real bourbons out there. Everything was rye.
It was rye.
And Pennsylvania was huge in rye whiskeys because they had these beautiful valleys that grew amazing crops. And then after Prohibition, it pretty much became an industry. It's the steel industry, took over all of Pennsylvania. And corn was the most readily available product. It was cheap, easy. They made a ton of bourbon because it was cheap, and they were able to pretty much all these stills, all these distilleries were like, how can we replenish our whiskey stocks as fast as possible? They use corn. Nothing against that. I love bourbon, but people started falling out of favor with the spicier side of things. So ryes just died out, and I mean now we're seeing a huge rye resurgence in the last 10 years, and it's important for us to like hit the rye right on the nose. Whereas a bourbon, we wanted something that was just balanced and easy to drink. We weren't looking to try and like
So you can go a lot of different directions with a bourbon mash bill, right? So really what we did on this one, so our bourbon mash bill is very close to a Buffalo Trace OWA. And
that makes sense.
Right. It's a balanced cocktail style whiskey that you can drink neat, you can drink on the rocks, or it's going to pair well in a whiskey cocktail. So that was the direction we went with it. I mean, I love the way our bourbon came out.
Same.
And actually, I've tasted people, aside from ours was a little
I'm sorry, you've what?
You've tasted people?
People? I told you.
Soylent Green.
Soylent Green.
Oh my god.
Dark Door is
Dark
people.
Door is people.
We're not. I swear to God, people, we're not.
Man. No, but I've tasted people against Buffalo
You see
Trace.
some guy run out from behind us. I'm free.
Remember, we want people to come to your distillery, not run away from it.
Yeah.
Agreed. But I've tasted people against like just a straight up Buffalo Trace bottle, and aside from ours is a little bit darker, from a flavor profile, it's actually pretty similar. So we actually we got it pretty close.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So one of the things I do want to give you guys a time to talk about, because Spirit of Oak, like I said, guys, super balanced. I'm a fan of bourbons that pick a lane and run with it. So like something that's super earthy, something that's super woody, something that's really sweet.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones that's kind of right in the middle of that taste web and really kind of owns it.
Yep.
Easy drinking, great mixer. Yeah.
So, guys, one of the things I want to talk about, and one of the reasons we're on the big screen right now is they have got this. So I'm a huge punk rock fan. I know Orion's a huge punk rock fan. Ricky's a huge punk rock fan. You know, we grew up listening to that stuff. They have it is a tip of the hat to one of the punk rock, I guess, poster children. So Panic at the Disco.
Should I do this with my
my
old
could,
email
that
here?
would be perfect.
There we go.
And now we go from Shane to Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do the hair flippy thing.
I need a cool name like Octo.
Dude, can I please say that you look 100% different with that hair?
Dude, right? He looks totally different with his hair like that.
So we got this vodka.
So it's
That was almost a Justin Trudeau hair flip.
Yeah, I'm a
From country boy to my life is meaning.
dude,
this is like Alabama.
this guy's Paragon on the streets, renegade in the sheets. But
Go from listening to Alabama to listen to my cam. Just a little.
we saw them open for Blink-182. It was pretty awesome. But so guys, tip of the hat to Panic at the Disco, who is one of the bands I listen to all the time. And then tip of the hat to the show that is 2020. So they have a Pandemic at the Disco vodka, and I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna come in here. If you see, we've got like toilet paper rolls. We've got the palm
And
trees.
all of our artwork's done by our art guy Dave Gonzalez. I mean, he just absolutely knocked
he
it
killed
out of the
this one.
park with this.
If you see, there's a 6 foot distance sign up there. So really, I mean, it's not something to make light of, but these guys are taking something that
So we want
it's
to
been
add
a bad year, and they're
levity.
adding something great to it, which is great because we need a win for 2020, and this
we
is
wanted
it.
to add a little levity to the situation, but with adding levity, we knew that we had to do something with it.
Yeah.
And that meant coming out with this vodka. It's a really clean vodka. It's
It
a
is.
good product.
Yeah.
I'm not a big vodka fan, and it's great.
We're big on cutting. When we cut our spirits, we cut the heads very hard on our vodka and the tails. We don't want to lose and putting in those soft flavors in there. So it's very clean, very crisp, very easy to drink. And it's a product that we wanted to be able to help. So we actually we are donating 50% of our profits on every bottle we sell to help some organizations that are helping people in the hospitality industry. You know, we've never had a tasting room until now. So all of our success is based completely on bartenders telling other bartenders or bar managers telling people and helping us get into the places that we've got into.
Now, you guys ship, right?
Yeah,
we do.
So guys, big thing. If you're in the hospitality industry, if you're a bartender, and I know I've got a lot of bartender friends, just because of what I do here on the blog, and you know, I have a lot of bar manager friends and stuff like that. Listen, whoa, oh, there's Ricky. Holy, oh, okay. Anyways, so if you have a bar, if you're managing a bar, if you're a bartender, if you're just somebody who wants to help out your friends, your bartenders, your local bars, guys, this is a great vodka to order. Get a couple cases of for your bar.
Yeah, we distribute through Pepin and Hillsborough Pasco, and then Great Bay on the other side.
Yeah, and
yeah.
we have another distribution method if we need to ship out of state as well.
Yeah, so that's great to know. So if you're out of state and you really want to, you know, both get a vodka and B, support somebody who's really trying to make an impact in the bar community, which is really great because you see a lot of
we're all
of our best friends too. I mean,
So I'm a partner here, but my full-time job is in the hospitality industry. So I work for a hotel group, and I'm super fortunate where I've kept working, and I had to take a couple weeks off here and there. But of my core group of like 10 friends that I came up with in the hospitality industry, I'm the only one working right now, and it's so heartbreaking. I mean, Shane obviously came up in the business as well from the kitchen. The whole way.
Kitchen.
With you. But the same thing. But Matt, my operating partner again, came up through the events business. Zach, who's our lead distiller full time, came up through the events industry, working concerts and road managing, that kind of stuff. So we're tied into it,
devastating, man. And
it's our friends. It's hard.
It's when we first started, when this whole thing first started, we were fortunate enough to be able to stay afloat by making hand sanitizer. And we donated a ton of hand sanitizer.
Really, anybody that wanted it, we
lucked out that we were able to start selling it as well. And we had some big corporate accounts come in and buy some, which, I mean, that kept us afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And without that, we would have never made it. And
I mean, we were having a conversation about what the stainless steel is worth at the beginning of this because we didn't know. Yeah. As soon as bars and restaurants shuts down, I mean, that was the core of our business as a startup here.
I thought for sure that my wife was going to have to finally.
She's got a good job. She's good.
Thank God she does.
I mean, I always felt like your OnlyFans would have taken off if you really spent a little time marketing it.
I'm still working on it. If anybody wants it, onlyfans.com/miracle of 84. You're welcome. And
no, I hear you, man. If I didn't have the luxury of working remote, my wife was ready to throw me on MLK.
I live off MLK.
I'm making that money.
You could have just been on my OnlyFans with me.
No, but on a serious note, no, I totally agree because I used to work for a local caterer back in the day, and they're struggling, man. Like it's really hard for everybody in these industries to make ends meet.
Call your bartender friends and talk to your hospitality friends. Tell them you're thinking of them, and if you could make some type of donation, please do because it's rough, man.
Well, the other thing is, guys, is if you individually want to help out, especially our area with the hospitality industry, like literally swing by here or go to their website and buy a bottle of vodka. Like, who's not going to use a bottle of vodka? And on top of that, it's good vodka.
Lukens is distributing through Drizzly with it as well.
Yeah, so
that's good.
Home,
so you can
distancing.
get it.
Yeah.
We do have some restaurant and bar partners that picked it up down at the Epicurean Hotel down in South Tampa. They run it as happy hour special.
Cool.
So if you want to go
Shuffle
in and
has it.
Yep, Shuffle has it. You can
Anyone
actually go and
play
buy
some
a bottle of
shuffleboard?
Shuffle. Super fun. Great local bar here to the Tampa market.
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate that some of our friends and partners were like, "Yeah, we'll take that and we'll help you." We want to help out too.
That's good. Well, does anybody have any parting thoughts here? Ricky, Orion, Dave?
Yeah, let's fucking hear them.
He dropped it. Yes.
Oh, you got,
it.
I will respect the rock paper scissors.
They rock paper scissors who got to drop the F-bomb. We said PG-13. This was not PG.
Yeah.
I would like to say how much I appreciate them for sticking to the terms of engagement
really
that we
hard.
made earlier.
I think I did shit. I'm the one that drops the F-bomb.
But yeah, I mean, another thing too is like they're down the street from our operation here at Whiskey Culture, and one of the cool things is we're going to be talking about doing more stuff in the future.
Yep.
I don't want to, we haven't talked any specifics, but I'd like to say like we're very excited to do some stuff with these guys in the future, whether it's just an event or even just more of these podcasts or anything like that. I mean, the thing that like we want to keep tabs on you all, especially because, I mean, you see every now and again something that's an operation that's poised to just they're on the fence and they're about to fall over on the great side of it. And I mean, we're super excited for what you guys are doing here. The amount of stuff that you guys are experimenting on and the technology you're adopting and the ideas that you have and the passion that you show. And I'm just I'm really excited for the next couple of years.
We love it. And we're really excited. And, we're just excited to be here in Tampa and be able to really showcase our city as something that's really growing too. Mm-hmm. This is a fun town and it's really growing as a town as well.
I tell you, man.
And I think that's like, it's kind of cool that we get to grow with the industry. So that's important to us, and being able to do something like Pandemic at the Disco and helping our community.
And the food and booze culture here is just, beer culture, really started to kick probably 10 years ago. Food culture probably 5 years ago. Rooster and the Till, those guys. And I think, really booze culture is the next thing that's going to kick in this town. And we're going to, we want to be on the forefront of that, try to do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
thanks, guys.
Do you guys have any parting thoughts?
Can't wait to come out and try some, man.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Dave's like, can't wait to drink.
Come on out.
Yeah, I was just gonna say similarly. Next time Greg goes through there, I definitely want to be around and meet you guys and try out all your.
So it's gonna be often.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are doing anything once things start to open up more with everything going on here, I would love to do an event with you guys. You guys have good energy.
I really want to push people to the website. We try and update all of our events and things like that too. We're still in the middle of kind of getting everything ready for the public. We're open, but we're not doing big tours yet. We're starting to put those on the calendar. So if you go online and see that, but we're also going to start doing some cocktail classes.
This darkdoorspirits.com?
Yeah, darkdoorspirits.com.
Oh, Dave, sign up.
Dave, there you go.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, Dave, I'm going to do some cocktail classes. I got some really fun ones. We're working with some local people that we're going to have over here. We're gonna have a lot of fun over here, and we're really excited to be up and running. So,
well, excellent, guys. Well, thank you, everyone. Orion, any parting thoughts?
I just want to know if you guys had any, I know it's difficult now, and especially with COVID and everything, if you guys had any, concrete timelines for anything, like any releases or events or anything big that you wanted to shout out.
Well, we have.
So no.
No.
So we have something we're just about to release it. We can't really we have some really fun stuff that's happening right now, and we're kind of waiting for the other people involved.
Yeah. So here, let me take this one for 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been super fortunate that we're connected with the beer industry and a lot of really great people. We've already done some projects with Motorworks down in Bradenton. We've done projects with Three Bridges down in Venice. We've got a whole bunch of really cool collaborations. And it's not just using barrels to age whiskey in. We're taking beers and we're making them into whiskey by blending them with other things or making them into other things. So, that's really the direction we're heading to try and really create, again, to kind of stay with our core value of just doing something funky that other people aren't doing. So we'll have a bunch of those releases coming up. And as soon as our partners have tasted them, are happy with the way they are, then we'll start to talk about what they are.
So I can't say anything, but I've gotten to try them.
Couple of them.
And oh my gosh.
We're going to be doing, we have 2 barrels going, and I'll go ahead and say it. We have an oatmeal stout barrel.
Dude,
that we're aging, that we've had some stuff aging in, and we have an imperial stout barrel.
Also,
and we're going to we're going to bottle one of them for the holidays, and I think we're going to kind of, when we do the tastings and we do the tours, we're going to have people start tasting them and voting on which one to release first. And I think we're going to do like a big holiday release with it because they both have a really fun holiday flavors. I think Greg would attest that's a good holiday one to go with.
I think that's another whiskey culture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We'll
But-
talk about
but-
that. We'll
yeah.
talk
Keep
about that.
keep an eye on whiskey culture if you're interested in Dark Door Spirits, because we're going to be doing a lot of cross promotion. So you'll see a lot of the stuff that they're getting ready to release on whiskey culture.
And we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on everything. You know, it's all Dark Door Spirits. We're even on Twitter. Sometimes I get on there and talk shit.
Yeah, you don't have to follow whiskey culture to get those releases. You can follow them directly. But really, you should do both.
But
Agreed.
do both because
We're gonna have some fun.
you're going to be able to find the information. I feel like from both.
That way
From
you
both
have a
avenues.
variety of ways
Yes,
to get the information.
So you don't miss it.
Exactly.
yes. It's going to be we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're really excited to be in the whiskey culture family now. We're gonna have a lot of good times with you guys. So
The whiskey culture family, I like that.
I like it too.
I like that.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that.
If it was like my family in Alabama, we'd be kissing right now.
Oh, well, Greg will fit in.
Give me a couple more drinks, and we'll talk.
Shane's going to be like, oh, Greg, you're from Alabama, too?
Well, in that case,
Cheers, guys.
Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Guys, Ricky, Orion, Dave, thank you for joining us. Please keep an eye on Dark Door Spirits. Please keep an eye on whiskey culture. Look for the upcoming releases. If you're looking to support your local bartenders, as all of you should if you're whiskey fans, buy a damn bottle of vodka. How hard is that? And that way,
appreciate that.
like I said, 50% of the proceeds, which is more than generous. A lot of the charities that you see, it's like, hey, 5% of proceeds or 10% of proceeds. Guys, they're giving up 50% of their revenue as a small business, which is insane. I mean, it's insane. They're giving up 50% of their revenue on this as a small business just to support the community that supports them. It's incredible. So please buy a damn bottle of vodka. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, run by here. Check it out, and please keep an eye on Dark Door Spirits social media and Whiskey Culture social media to see what they're coming out with. I mean, it's unique. This is one of those things that is not a carbon copy that we're used to, where small distilleries pop up. They buy a recipe or a white label from some sort of producer. These guys are making it here. They had the scientists back there when I walked in, sitting there getting hammered, testing different stuff, which is like the coolest job ever. But I mean, they're really putting the effort in. They're trying new stuff. They're doing the experiment. They're here. They're in the trenches and they're swinging. And so give them the opportunity, give them the try, and keep ears open because you don't want to sleep on Dark Door for sure.
Well, with that, thanks, guys. That was good. I mean, that was like Captain America good.
I was just disappointed
I like
to the moon landing conspiracy thing.
I know.
It's okay.
The moon's made of cheese. Anyways. Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks,
stay
guys.
tuned, and we'll see you all next Wednesday for Whiskey Wednesday.
Take it easy, guys. See you.
see ya.
See you guys.